Hi, third graders. This week we are switching over to nonfiction, but we are still thinking about important traits that you might find inside of a story or a text that you're reading. This week we're talking about record holders and what makes an individual a record holder, and some words that you might want to think about, different traits that a record holder might have. These people might be prepared. They might be determined. And I want you to think about those two special words this week as you're reading through the selection Driving Cross Country. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. We want you to meet Alice Ramsey, an important figure in history that drove cross country across the nation. Let's go ahead and take a look at this story. Driving cross country. Alice Ramsey stopped at a service station to have her Maxwell car fixed. As she waited, someone yelled, "Get a horse!" In 1909, travel by horse was common. Travel by car was not common, and certainly not when it was driven by a woman. But Alice Ramsey was determined to set a record. She wanted to drive her Maxwell from New York to California, a distance of 3,800 miles. Her sponsor was the maker of the Maxwell. He wanted to prove that anyone, even a woman, could drive a car across America. Alice and three friends started their journey on June the 9th, 1909. They drove mostly on paths or wagon trails. At that time, only 152 miles of the trip were on paved roads. For people traveling east of the Mississippi, there were guidebooks. These guides gave directions using landmarks. For example, turn left at the yellow house. West of the Mississippi, there were no guides. When Alice and her friends came to a crossroads, Alice chose the road that had the most telegraph poles. She thought it would lead to a town. Often, it did. Rain, which turned dirt to mud, often caused delays. One time, the women just lay down to rest next to a swollen creek they needed to cross. In time, the water went down far enough so they were able to drive across it. Another time, the car's radiator ran dry. Unfortunately, the women had no water, so they caught water from roadside ditches and little perfume bottles they had brought along. Ounce by ounce, they filled the radiator. Alice changed at least one flat tire. She learned to check the gas tank regularly after once running out of gas. This meant taking out the whole front seat and sticking a ruler into the gas tank. Alice Ramsey drove the entire way herself. Her highest speed was 42 miles per hour. The group arrived in California on August the 7th, 1909, after 59 days and 3,800 miles. Ramsey thus became the first woman to drive a car across the United States. Let's go ahead and go back and take a quick peek at the caption next to this photograph. Alice Ramsey was prepared for her trip. In the summer of 1908, she had driven a Maxwell about 6,000 miles around New Jersey. So third graders, there's that special word we were talking about, this trait, being prepared. A lot of record holders that you think about have the traits of being prepared and determined. This week, you're going to decide to fill in this record sheet either alone, individually by yourself, or with a buddy. If you're choosing to do it alone, you'll do page 1. If you're choosing to work with a buddy, you'll do page 2. Same information, just a different way to work through it. As you can see, you're going to be thinking about our important question this week. What traits do we see in record holders? You're also going to be thinking about what the record holder accomplished. You'll be thinking about a very important question. Will this record stand for all time? And then we want you to use some details from the text to provide evidence of the traits that this person had. Go ahead and write your response for the quick key question here. And we hope you enjoyed reading about these record holders this week, such as Alice Ramsey. Have a great week, third graders. See you next time.